A few weeks ago, the very anticipated Dragon Ball FighterZ finally had its official release. It was incredibly successful, which is no wonder if you look at the amazing art of this game and consider the huge amount of Dragon Ball fanboys out there. I'm C5 from the Beefy Smash Dudes, and the hype did also reach us, so we wanted to take this opportunity to explain exactly what's going on in this game for anyone who is new to fighting games. Dragon Ball FighterZ is very different from Smash, as most of you guys will be used to our Smash content. We will explain the basics as well as any advanced hidden mechanics of the game. In DBFZ you have 4 basic attack buttons, usually called normals. You've got light, medium, heavy and special, which work on the ground as well as airborne. You can jump by pressing up and dash by quickly pressing twice into the same direction. If you dash forward and hold forward, you will keep running for a while. Another way to dash forward is by holding forward and pressing the super dash button, which is usually one of the shoulder buttons. I will get to that later. This doesn't work for back dashes. While airborne, you can use another jump or dash, but not both. Double jumping will use up your dash and air dashing will use up your double jump. If you jump while dashing, you can jump really far. And if you press down right before you jump, you will jump a lot higher. By simply repeatedly pressing the same button when hitting an opponent, you can perform an auto combo. These combos are very simple and not really optimized for dealing the most damage. As a side note, while airborne, your light auto combo will always be light to medium to heavy, even if you press 3 times light. You can of course combine certain attacks into others to add a little extra damage, like starting with 2 light attacks but then switching to mediums, but we'll talk about combos a little later. There are also a few variations of your normals by combining them with simple directional inputs. On the ground, those are down light, down medium, down heavy, down special and forward medium. In the air, the only variation you have is down heavy. Note that there are exceptions, a few characters have different or not all of those variations. Now, aside from those simple variations, you also have the more interesting attacks, specials and supers. Those specials are different from the normal called special. Don't ask me why they are basically called the same, this game is an exception when it comes to that. Specials vary between different characters and usually involve quarter circle inputs with your stick or pad plus an attack button. These are the attacks that really make the game interesting. You can look up the exact special and super inputs for your character in the special move list. Do you see that bar at the bottom? That's your ki. Supers as well as certain specials use up ki. Depending on how much ki a super uses, they are often referred to as level 1 supers, level 3 supers or even level 5 supers. You gain ki by moving towards your opponent and by attacking. Even if they block your attacks, you will still gain ki. You also gain ki while blocking or even while getting hit, but a lot less. After your opponent sends you flying but doesn't follow up, you have a few options of how you recover once you land. If you hold back, you will do the standard back roll. If you hold forward, you will do a shortened version. Hold up to do a higher variation that leaves you airborne afterwards. Or hold down to make your character land flat on the ground and get up at a later point to play mind games on your opponent. You can also air tag by pressing the light, medium or heavy button after getting out of a combo. Again, there are variations if you combine the input with either forward, backward, up or down. There are 3 more interesting attacks in Dragon Ball that I haven't mentioned yet. The first one is a super dash that makes your character fly right into your opponent's face. It works by pressing special and heavy at the same time, but is usually simply bound to a right-sided shoulder button, at least on a regular gamepad. The good thing about this move is that it ignores simple projectiles, so it's amazing to punish campy players. Then you can also vanish behind your opponent by pressing medium and heavy at the same time. This costs 1 bar of ki. And lastly, you can use Dragon Rush, which is basically like a grab to get through your opponent's defense since it's unblockable. You perform that one by pressing light and medium at the same time or again a designated shoulder button. Speaking of blocking, that is our next topic. In DBFZ, you block by pressing away from your opponent. You can block high or you can block low by pressing back while crouching. Now, most attacks can be blocked with either method, but some attacks are low and some are overheads. If you block high, low attacks will hit you, and if you block low, overheads will hit you. So you really have to react fast or read which attack your opponent is going to use. Air normals are always overheads as well as medium forward. Projectiles are an exception, they are never overheads, at least not the normals. While you are airborne yourself, you can block the same way, although you block anything, no matter if low or high. While dashing forward, you can also block almost immediately after starting it if you quickly press back again. But while dashing backwards, you cannot block. What's interesting to note is that you can even block attacks that hit you from behind, like projectiles or assists, as long as you press away from your actual opponent. By the way, there are also some unblockable moves in this game. If you get attacked, you can also perform a reflect by pressing special while holding back. This is similar to just blocking, but you won't get pushed back like usually, and if your opponent is close, you can actually push them back, which can be extremely useful to get some space. Also, this deflects projectiles that destroy the stage in the background, which is pretty damn cool. Like I said earlier, a block can be broken with a Dragon Rush, but if both of you use Dragon Rush at the same time, you will clash. You can also force a clash if you use any single attack button at the exact moment your opponent's Dragon Rush reaches you. Additionally, with a grounded Dragon Rush, you cannot attack anyone that is airborne, and with an aerial Dragon Rush, you can't attack anyone who is grounded. Also, you cannot hit an opponent with Dragon Rush while they are blocking a different move. So forcing them to block with, let's say, a projectile or assist, and then punishing that with Dragon Rush at the same time doesn't work. You have to wait a bit. Next up are assists and swapping out characters. In Dragon Ball FighterZ, you always play with a team of 3 characters. While playing, you can swap them out, usually by holding one of the left shoulder buttons for half a second. Which character you swap out depends on which shoulder button you press. You can do a quicker swap out by pressing forward and the shoulder button at the same time. This way you swap out immediately and don't have to hold the button for half a second. You can even do that while blocking if during hit stun you quickly press forward and the shoulder button, but this costs 1 bar of ki. Be careful with swapping though, since the new character flies in using a super dash, which is punishable by the right counterplay. Also, you can't swap out immediately after getting out of a combo. If you only tap the button once, you can call your teammates for an assist. These assists vary for each character. Again, they have to be used with caution, since assists can get attacked themselves and even caught up in a combo. This situation is also commonly referred to as Happy Birthday. What a nice surprise. After swapping out a character, that character goes on cooldown for about 10 seconds. After using an assist, they go on cooldown for about 6 seconds. While a character is on cooldown, you cannot swap them in or use their assist. If you perform a level 1 super, you can also tap the assist button to throw another super at your opponent, and even a third one if your second assist is ready and you have enough ki. You can even tag into a level 3 super by holding back while calling an assist, but it doesn't work the other way around. You can't start with a level 3 super and then tag into others. If you want to tag directly into the super of your assist without using one first, you can do that by inputting a half circle forward plus the assist button for a level 1 super, or the same with a half circle back for a level 3 super. But this only works during a combo. So you hit your opponent, input a half circle into assist, and voila. You can actually force your opponent to switch characters with a Dragon Rush. If you press an assist button during Dragon Rush, you will force them into swapping characters. One more thing about assists that involve your health bar. If you get hit, you lose health, right? But half of the damage you take is actually not completely lost, but turned into blue health. This blue health doesn't do a lot on its own, but if you swap out a character, they regenerate their blue health slowly. So after taking a lot of damage, it's wise to swap out before you lose one character completely and bring them back later with more health. Interesting side note, if you swap a character back in that still had some blue health left, all of that blue health will instantly be lost even if that swap was forced by your opponent's Dragon Rush. The last thing I want to talk about is Sparking Blast. This is kinda your last trump card in a match. You can only use it once per match and you activate it by pressing all 4 attack buttons at the same time or the 2 designated buttons for Dragon Rush and Super Dash. One thing that this does is knock your opponent away from you, but if you do it during a combo, it will knock your opponent up and kinda make them bounce off the ground, which allows you to easily extend a combo. Additionally, activating Sparking Blast has a lasting effect on your characters. This effect gives you more damage, it rapidly recovers your blue health. If your super dash is blocked, you won't bounce off but stay right in their face, able to keep attacking them. You can cancel your air attacks into an air dash. You can cancel your ground attacks into a jump even if your opponent blocks them. Usually that's only possible if you actually hit your opponent. And you can perform a vanish without the hit afterwards if you hold the vanish buttons. This allows you to immediately go into other attacks, supers, or just land into Dragon Rush. And to top it all off, while Sparking Blast is active, you gain much more ki than you would usually. This tool really buffs your character immensely in many different ways, giving you incredible tools to pressure your opponent. The duration of Spark depends on how many characters you have left. If you still have all 3 characters available, it only lasts for 7 seconds. If you have only 2 characters left, it lasts for 14 seconds, and if only 1 is left, 21 seconds. Okay, we pretty much covered all the basics now, but there's one last thing I want to mention. During a combo, your attacks actually get stale. This means that the longer your opponent is trapped in the same combo, the fewer damage your attacks will deal. So for example, if you hit your opponent with a level 3 super head on, it deals a huge amount of damage compared to hitting them with the same super after a really long combo. So this game, as well as many other fighting games, is really about getting as many combos as possible and not just about getting the longest combo possible. Oh, and I forgot that you can charge your ki by holding light and special, but that's pretty much useless because of how slow it is. It looks cool though, so yeah, this was our complete beginner guide of Dragon Ball FighterZ. Hey, one thing I didn't mention in the video are the Dragon Balls and how to summon Shenlong, so here's a video by GameSpot explaining it in detail. But before you leave, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate your notifications so you don't miss our next upload. As always, thanks for watching, see you soon and stay beefy.